It's the most wonderful time of the year. Hello and welcome to another fiber adventure. This time we're at the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival, or the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, and I could not be more excited. We're gonna look at yarn, we're gonna pet some sheep, we're gonna eat some cozy autumnal treats. This, I believe, is considered the largest sheep and wool festival in the US, and it is a massive event. Super packed, and I've been looking forward to this weekend for so long. I actually missed the last couple Rhinebecks just because I got married last time Rhinebeck was happening, and then I was in Scotland the time before, so like it's been a while since I've been to this festival, and I'm looking forward to just having like a beautiful cozy day. It is currently Saturday morning, the first official day of the festival, and I'm actually here like 45 minutes early just because I know that parking here can get absolutely nuts and the lines can get really long in the morning, and I just wanted to avoid that as much as I could. But even 45 minutes early, there's already a huge line for parking, and there's already a huge line of people forming right in front of me to get in. But that's okay. I'm not here to like rope drop anything. I just want to like have a good time and explore. So we're just gonna enter the fairgrounds and just see what's interesting, and I'll show you anything and everything that catches my eye. Oh, also it is so cold this morning, so my outfit is literally just me layering on a whole bunch of warm handmade things, and I'll show you my outfit once we get in. And we're in! Yay! Like I said, I have no plans, no expectations, no specific things that I'm trying to buy. I'm just here to have a good time, so let's go exploring. Okay, I just came from there, and this is kind of like the center of the event, so I'm actually gonna go to the barn area first, because that always gets the absolute craziest. So let's go down there as our first destination. Like I said, I always try to visit the barns on this side first just because they get super busy as the day goes on. And even though I was one of the first people here this morning, it was still pretty crowded. But it was really fun to see which booths people showed up early for and ran to first. One booth that I knew I wanted to visit this weekend was the Ram's Horn, which makes really beautiful hand-cast pewter jewelry that's perfectly on theme for this event. Okay, I just finished this barn, so let's go up there. Actually, before we do that, let me show you my outfit finally. It's somehow already warming up, so I might be taking off some layers soon. So let me show you the full fit. Okay, you're bouncing on my bag, so hopefully you won't fall. Today I'm actually wearing both a weaving and a knitting, which is kind of rare for me. I don't know why I never thought to like go through my closet and combine pieces. I've just been wearing things like one at a time. So this is unlocking some new potential. Anyway, so this jacket I wove. It's made out of scraps of my friend's Noro yarns that they were destashing, and I just turned it into this really fun and super warm coat. And then I have this scarf, which I actually have a whole dedicated video to this scarf because I carded the wool, spun it, and then dyed it with cochineal insects. I'll put a link to that video in this video's description. So yeah, here's the outfit. This morning when I got up, it was like 35 degrees and I was literally shaking, and as the day goes on, it's supposed to get much, much warmer. So I have layers, I have thermals I'm probably gonna take off. You might see this outfit change and transform over the day, but that's okay. Oh, and here's the bag that I'm carrying with me. This is actually from the first time I ever went to Rhinebeck, which it says 2020, but it was actually 2021 just because obviously 2020 was canceled. So this is like the merch that they had left over from that canceled event. I also just love this design, and it's my favorite tote bag ever. Anyway, let's go. I basically spent the first part of my day just wandering through the barns. From one barn to another. And if I were to show you every single thing that I thought was cool, this whole video would be literally hours long. So instead, I'm gonna show you just a couple things that caught my eye that I thought were especially unique, interesting, or beautiful, just so you can see the kind of fibery goodies that you can find at a big festival like this. this one. Okay, so we just visited one row of barns, like literally just one row, and there were so many vendors. It was just packed full. There's so many more rows to go, but I thought it'd be fun to take a little break and go visit some animals. Visiting the animals is honestly my favorite part of this weekend's event. Not only because they're just so dang beautiful.
Oh yeah, scratch the back of the neck. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that feels so good. Oh, nobody ever touches the back of my neck like that.
But I also love just using this as an opportunity to learn more about where the fibers that I love to work with come from. Because each sheep produces such unique fiber with different characteristics and different strengths and uses, and it's just amazing to have the chance to literally touch a live animal. No. And then throughout the day encounter fiber, yarns, sweaters, socks, mittens, and more made out of the exact same fibers.
I like your bangs.
It's like a giant living tactile museum of farm-to-fiber textiles. And as someone who used to work with animals professionally, who's now transitioned my career to textiles, I'm really into this topic. After visiting the sheep for a bit, I continued to wander around the barns a bit more. It's getting crazy, for sure. These barns are so fun because as far as I know, they're not organized by any categories in particular, so one single barn will have so much going on. Like this one had yarns, hand-dyed fibers for spinning, locks, which are literal curls from a sheep, pelts, tons of project kits, natural dyes and naturally dyed upcycled clothes, and so much more. While I was wandering around, I heard the sound of a vuvuzela in the distance, which meant that the animal parade had started. And then it was back to the barns. This time I visited a barn that was specifically showcasing unique sheep breeds. And then I decided to find some of my friends, so I headed over to the fiber shed area and visited the New Jersey fiber shed booth. So my goal was essentially just to speed run these barns before things got crazy, and I think now it's getting to the point where the crowds are making it a little bit hard to actually visit the booths. It's not impossible, but it is challenging. I did get a couple things. Of course, there's gonna be a haul at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. So for now, I'm just gonna head to the completely opposite side of this whole festival. So these are the barns on this one half. And then over there, I don't really know what they call them. Maybe it's also barns, but there are just these huge buildings just filled with even more vendors. So let's go check all that out. So we're going from here all the way to those white buildings. In this area, there are several really huge buildings, and one specifically is dedicated to galleries, events, and food. You can find maple syrups, caramel apples, wines, liquors, sauces, spices, dips, jams, jellies, breads, cheeses, salamis, cookies, honeys, and so much more. They also have spaces dedicated to sharing artworks and projects like this area dedicated to the Tempestry Project, which is all about documenting our changing climate through fiber. There was also a demo of this historic flat braid maker from the early 1900s, which was just so fun to see. And I just love the sounds that it makes as it's braiding. There was also an area dedicated to the juried competitions for fiber arts, including skein spinning, knitting, crocheting, weaving, felting, lace making, and more. I then crossed over to the other vendor area with even more fibery goodness, and you could totally see that the crowds are getting more crowded. But there was still so much to enjoy, including lots of informal demos of equipment and supplies that were for sale. And then I headed over to the fleece sale. I went into this weekend saying that I was not gonna buy a fleece, but I was here to touch every single bag of fiber, to read about the animals, and to connect the dots between the animals I saw earlier and the fiber that was literally shaved off of their bodies. And I tried my best to resist temptation because there were just so many stunning fleeces at this show. Like this beautiful gray merino that I stared at for way too long.
Don't need a fleece. I don't need a fleece. I don't need...
And then I found this beautiful bag of Rommeldale CVM fleece that I just kept coming back to. And I also had the chance to meet Tashi of Stitches and Starlight, and she was splitting some fleeces with friends, which was just so fun to watch.
Got a fleece. Every time I'm at a sheep and wool event, I go over to the fleece sale and I just look longingly at the fleeces and hope that like someday I'll get one. I always felt like I had to have like the right situation to get it, the right way to wash it, the right thing figured out, all the systems in place. But I was talking to Tashi and she's like, no, you don't. Just get the fleece. So I got it.
Then it was time for lunch and there was only one thing on my mind.
Okay, you're currently sitting in my bag of fleece and we're just sitting in the grass in the field, and I wanted to show you what I'm having for my lunch today. I feel like I need to explain it a little bit. So when I came here for the first time in 2021, I had this exact pumpkin crisp and I've literally been dreaming about it ever since. So it's been many years of me dreaming about this pumpkin pie. The last time I came, I think that must have been like 2022, 2023, I went to the booth and they were sold out, which was super disappointment. So this time I was like, I need to make sure I get there because if it's sold out again, I'm gonna be devastated. So yeah, pumpkin crisp for lunch, and I'm sure I'm gonna have something more sensible later, but this is what I'm having. So good. This day could literally not get better. Actually, you know what? I just had a really, really exciting conversation with somebody who noticed my jacket. And then I mentioned to them that it was made out of Noro, and they were like, oh, I actually work for Knitting Fever. Let me get you in touch with the person who's in charge of marketing. We'll see if that actually ends up like developing into any kind of, you know, work relationship. But yeah, I almost cried. Noro is just like one of my all-time favorite yarn brands. I love using it in my weavings. Whenever I spin yarn, I aspire to make it look like Noro yarn. Like, I just truly love that company. So the thought of that, like, turning into something literally makes me want to cry. I'm so excited. And it's funny too because I was like, do I get a pumpkin pie now or later? Is it dumb to eat it for lunch? Okay, but I really want it, so let me go. And she was the person behind me in line. So it's like, I don't know what the odds of us meeting and our paths crossing actually are, but that was just like such a synchronous, beautiful thing. Anyway, I'm gonna sit here in the sun and I'm gonna eat this apple crisp, and then I'll see you the next time I run around again. I'm gonna go drop my bags off at my car because I keep bumping people with my little fleece. Look at this absolute sea of cars. And I got parking like somewhere literally right there. I met up with some friends and I ended up going back to the fleece sale where I had the chance to meet Kimberly of the Natural Spinner. She was doing some demonstrations about picking out fleeces and what to look for in a good fleece, which was really interesting. And as her demo fleece, she picked out the beautiful gray merino fleece that I had my eyes on for a while, and it was just so stunning. And she very kindly ended up sharing some of the fleece with me, which was so incredibly kind. So I got 1 pound of this beautiful fleece. I think there's only about like 15 minutes left of the festival today. It's almost 5 o'clock. I'm actually gonna meet up with another friend of mine. We're gonna grab some dinner and then I'm just gonna call it and rest up so I'm ready for tomorrow. On my way to the restaurant, I had to film just a little bit of the drive because this area is just so pretty in autumn. The leaves are red and gold, and I drove by some cornfields and the sun was setting and it was just beautiful. And then we ended the evening with some delicious German food. Schnitzel is just the best.
Good morning, it's day 2 of the festival. Yesterday was definitely crazy busy, and usually, historically, Sundays have been a little bit more chill, so I'm counting on that for today. I got my pumpkin spice latte to keep me warm when I'm in line this morning. I have a couple different places I want to check out again, just because things were maybe a little bit too busy for me to actually see it up close yesterday. There are a couple different events I want to make sure I see as well, so today should be a really fun day. So let's head into the fairgrounds, and I'm going to show you my outfit. Okay, so let me show you what I'm wearing today. Today I decided to wear this woven jacket, which is slowly becoming one of my all-time favorite pieces that I've ever made before. I made this earlier this year in January and it features some really beautiful Noro boucle yarns and tons of glitters, so it feels like the right thing to wear to a big festival like this because I kind of feel like a party. Then I'm also wearing these earrings that I actually got yesterday. They're tiny little weaving shuttles, and I love them. And then I'm just wearing a ton of really warm things underneath. Supposedly today the weather's actually gonna get really hot and beautiful, so I'm anticipating taking off a lot of layers, but for now, we're bundled up, we're warm, we're cozy, we're glittery, and here's the look. All right, let's go. My first stop of the day was back at the barns. I said hello to Kai, aka Fiber by Nature here on YouTube, and I got some wool roving at the booth that he was working at. Isn't this magenta and purple blend just stunning? After that, I wandered around a bit more. I went to go check out the animals, which is always so nice in the early morning because the sunshine is just so beautiful and all the animals are out and about getting ready for a day of shows and festival excitement. I also hung around and watched a bit of a sheep show. These seem like they're really similar to dog shows in that the participants stand in a semicircle around a judge that looks at each animal individually and judges them based on the qualities that are representative of their breed. They walk them around so the judge can look at them from every angle, and then they get ribbons for their placements. Even though I don't know nearly enough about sheep to understand literally anything about the nuances of this, it's still really fun to watch. And of course, it's just so fun to watch all the other sheep in the area get all dolled up for their big moment. So this is a merino sheep. And this is the type of sheep that made one of the fleeces that I got yesterday. After visiting the sheep, I continued to wander around for a little bit. And in general, this day was just so much more chill than the day before. There were barely any crowds this morning.
I even found my Kenilworth Library friends over at the pumpkin pie booth, and they were also enjoying pumpkin and apple pies as their meal. Then I headed over to the sheep to shawl competition. This one is so fun. Essentially, 3 teams compete to transform a fleece into a hand-woven shawl. Some of the team members card the wool using hand carders to prep it for spinning. Some are spinning the wool into yarn on their spinning wheels. And then one person is taking all of that hand-spun wool and weaving it into a shawl. This is such a fun event to check in on Sundays because watching how quickly and efficiently they work and watching a shawl just like appear at the end of all of it just feels like magic. And usually the teams have themes, which is super cute. Also, I was gifted this really beautiful handmade ceramic stitch marker by someone who told me that she watches my videos, and that absolutely made my day. Thank you, Celeste! Then I just kept wandering around the festival, returning to some of the booths that were just a little bit too crowded to see yesterday. I also caught the tail end of the Leaping Llamas competition, pun fully intended, which is always just so much fun to see. I then grabbed lunch with Kai, and we had these amazing roast beef sandwiches and lemonade from one of the food vendors. And then we visited the Angora rabbits.
Oh my gosh, this one is so beautiful. Hello, it's been a little while since we last checked in. Today as a whole has just been like so much more chill than yesterday, both in terms of the crowds themselves, like there's just a lot fewer people here so you can actually walk around and enjoy things, but also in the sense that I feel like I kind of saw everything yesterday, so today has just been like meeting up with friends, walking around, doing kind of like a double back on anything I wanted to see again. It's been a really, really beautiful day. Things are slowly winding down here, as am I. I am pooped. There is one more thing I wanted to check out before I go, and that's actually the result of the sheep du shawl competition, so let's go see how that turned out. Well, I guess I came too late because there's only one shawl, but it is beautiful, and it won 3rd place. Well, with that, I think I'm gonna wrap it up for the day. The event's gonna end in about an hour, and I pretty much feel like I've seen everything, and I've had a wonderful time, so I'm ready to call it. I'm gonna head back to my car, and I'm gonna show you all the things that I got. Okay, so my hair's looking crazy. We're gonna ignore that. And I'm gonna show you everything I got this weekend. I really tried my best to have as much self-control as possible this weekend and to only get things that I think would like serve a larger goal or a project that I already know I'm gonna start, or like things on my bucket list, or you know, things that are actually like going to happen and not just contribute to stash, if that makes sense. Whenever I go to these fiber festivals like Rhinebeck, the Jersey City Barn Crawl, the New Jersey Sheep and Wool, and Vogue Knitting, I think those are the 4 that I go to. Those are pretty much my like 4 main times of year for getting supplies that I'm gonna use throughout the year. So there is a part of me that feels a little bit guilty when I have like bags of stuff, but then I kind of have to remind myself that like this is my hobby, these are my craft supplies. These are gonna give me not only hours of entertainment, but even more hours and hours of enjoyment of whatever I end up making with these supplies. So yeah, guilty rant over. Let me just show you everything. The first thing you've actually seen already, and those are my little shuttle earrings, which I'm so excited about. They are super, super cute. They're made of pewter, and I know that I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of these because I just love silver colored jewelry in general, and these are just so cute. And they even have on the back of the bobbin. They're just precious, and I know that I can wear them when I'm like making weaving content or teaching weaving, and yeah, I love them. Okay, next up, I'm gonna try my best to go in like kind of a chronological order. The next thing I got is some cotton fiber. If you guys have been following along on my rooftop garden journey, you'll know that I've been growing cotton on my roof, and the balls are finally starting to open, so I'm actually seeing cotton fiber, which I'm just like beyond excited about, but I am so nervous to actually like take those balls that I've spent literally all season trying to grow and to then like turn them into a yarn. I kind of feel like I need to practice spinning cotton first, just because I know that's like its own beast in terms of spinning and fiber craft. So I got this fiber to play with so I can just learn more about spinning cotton. It's only about 2 ounces, and honestly, I think 2 ounces is more than enough to like give it a try. So yeah, cotton fiber. Next up, I ended up going to the fleece sale. I told myself going into this weekend that I did not need to get a fleece. Not because I don't want to get a fleece. I really want to do that. But I haven't quite figured out like the system that I'm going to use to actually process the fleece in my current living situation. I don't really know how I'm going to like dispose of the poop water, or how I'm going to dry the fiber or anything like that. I just don't have anything figured out. And I kind of felt like I needed to have everything figured out before I could invest in a fleece. But then it just kind of hit me like I'm not going to be able to figure it out until I actually give it a go and give it a try. So we got a fleece. Oh, and I also got this year's bag, which is super cute. Anyway, so the fiber that I got, this fleece is from a 1-year-old Rhinebeck sheep, and there's about 3 pounds of fiber in here, and it is so pretty. There is a beautiful lock. It is so soft and so squishy, and it just feels so good. And I was told that this was like a decent choice for like a first time fleece prep. I do have some experience with fleeces, like I have washed them and carded them, but I've never done the whole process myself from scratch, and I'm so excited to finally give that a go. So yes, my Rhinebeck fleece, which I'm sure is going to end up being its own video about just like processing this whole thing and what I'm going to turn the fiber into. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. And also give me some suggestions below if you have any thoughts on what I could do with all this fiber. Next up, I actually did end up getting just a little bit more fleece. So when I was at the fleece sale, I was chatting with Kimberly of The Natural Spinner, I believe. I'll put all her information here on the screen. She was one of the judges for the fleece show, and she was also teaching this weekend, so some of my friends took classes from her. So they introduced me, and she was just like going over like Fleece 101 at the fleece sale. She was like opening them up and taking a look at them. To make a long story short, before I settled on that Rhinebeck, there was another fleece that I was looking at, and it was this beautiful merino, but I think there was like 11 pounds of it or something, which like I cannot handle 11 pounds of fiber. I'm already kind of like nervous enough with my like little amount of 3, but 11 would have been just like too much. So I left that behind, even though I thought the fleece was stunning. Anyway, Kimberly was like, oh, I set aside a fleece for myself. Let me open it up to show you guys. And it ended up being that fleece that I had my eyes on. And I told her that kind of jokingly, like, oh my gosh, I loved this fleece too. And she was like, do you want to split it with me? So I didn't cleanly split it with her. I only asked for £1, and she so generously split that with me. I gave her the money for it. And it is this beautiful merino that kind of has this like really subtle dove gray color that's originally what I was attracted to. It is just so pretty. Let me pull out a lock. I know merino is not the most beginner friendly fleece, that's at least what I've been told by a couple people now, but I think if I wash it and then set it aside and maybe do this one second after doing the Rhinebeck and kind of like get a little more experience and work up to this, I think I'll have a lot of fun with it. So merino fleece. One booth that I was really looking forward to visiting today on my Rhinebeck weekend is called Maggie's Farm. I just love their fiber. I've gotten fiber from them in the past and I've just loved how it's spun up. So I knew I wanted to go get some fiber from them. But that's also the booth where my friend Kai was working. You saw we had lunch together. Kai's wonderful, and he goes by Fiber by Nature here on YouTube if you want to check out his awesome videos. Anyway, I knew I wanted to get some fiber from Maggie's because her fiber has such a specific look to it that I just think is so stunning. So I got £1/2 of this beautiful purple roving. It's like purple and pink and red and green, and it just has so much going on. I think it's gonna be an absolutely stunning yarn, and I think £1/2 is more than enough to play around with. Put you back. The last thing that I got for myself was some buttons. Not too long ago, I made a video all about using cochineal bugs to dye wool, and during that dyeing process, I ended up having a lot of dye left over, so I just started kind of like looking around my house for things to throw in the dye pot. So I ended up dyeing this really beautiful wool sweater that I had in my closet, and now it's this beautiful purple color, but I just like hate how the buttons look. They just look terrible. Now that the sweater's purple, I just feel like they're the wrong color and the wrong look, and I just like haven't been wearing it because I just like don't like the buttons, which might sound crazy, but I want it to be like a finished product that I'm excited about since I put so much time into actually dyeing it and taking care of it. So anyway, there's this button booth that I just adore here at Rhinebeck, and I always go and I always look at the buttons, but I don't often work with buttons, so I've never had really a reason to like get a set. But this time I found the perfect set of buttons that perfectly match my sweater that so desperately needs some new buttons, and they look like this. I just think they are so pretty. They're handmade ceramic. They have like the exact color of my sweater here on the rim, and then it kind of like blends into this beautiful textural multicolored button, and I think it's gonna be perfect. So as soon as I can, these are going right on my sweater, and I am so excited. Last but not least, I got a little gift for my husband Ryan, who he's not really like a sheep and wool kind of guy, but one thing he does love is salami. So I got a hot Italian salami. This has kind of become my little like Rhinebeck tradition, is that I always bring him back a salami. So there's this year's gift. Anyway, I had an absolute blast this weekend. This event was crazy, but it's crazy in such a fun way because it's just filled with joy. The animals are so wonderful. The fiber and the yarns are so wonderful. I got to meet up with my friends. I got to eat some really good food. I also got to meet a lot of you guys, my subscribers, which is genuinely always the highlight of my day. If you're watching this video and you came up at any point to me during this whole festival weekend to say hello, please know that you made this experience so much more special. It's always just like so nice to get to know you guys and to see like what you're wearing and what you make and what you're up to. It also kind of helps make this whole YouTube thing feel like a little bit less lonely, just because I know that like, okay, there are actually real people watching me on the other side of this. It's a weird feeling that I don't really know how to describe, but just know that like actually meeting someone face to face who enjoys my content is like truly surreal, and it just like, I don't know, it's just wonderful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my Rhinebeck adventure. Definitely let me know in the comments if there's any particular thing that you enjoyed, or if you have any ideas for me about what I could do with all the goodies that I got. And hopefully I'll see you in my next adventure. I have a long drive home. Bye!